Alright, so what happens when you merge the gameplay of games like Gunvolt or Megaman with that of Monster Hunter? Well, you're going to end up with a game similar to this one. What's up, Dreamer Tribe? What's up, world? I am Bianca, and this is my review for Marvelous and Inti Creates Dragon Marked for Death. So yeah, Dragon Marked for Death is a side-scrolling RPG game with borrowed elements from Monster Hunter. You play the role of one of the two surviving Dragon Blood clan members who has made a pact with a dragon in order to exact revenge on the Kingdom of Medius, responsible for your clan's destruction and the kidnapping of the Dragon Blood Oracle. Now, this game has two versions, with nothing differentiating either versions apart from which character class you can choose to control, each version having two of the four available classes. The Frontline Fighters version gives you the Empress and the Warrior classes, while the Advanced Attacker one gives you the Shinobi and the Mage characters. Each of these four plays differently and has differing characteristics that suit different scenarios. Each of them also have a level of difficulty in their controls. The Empress can make use of the Dragon Cannon and shoot powerful projectiles from afar while swinging across the map, while the Warrior can go berserk and summon a shield while being able to tackle not just enemies but obstacles as well. The Mage character class is known for their powerful magical attacks and their ability not just to heal themselves but their party as well. And lastly, the Shinobi can attack and poison enemies from afar and has various movement options that make him the best character for people who would like to explore during quest runs. Buying one version makes the remaining two classes not part of that version become available as paid DLCs. So if you want to get all four and test them out, you would have to give another $14.99 to cover the cost. Let's not forget the season pass that costs another $9.99 for what appears to be at the moment just 2 additional quests. Now, the game is no pushover, especially when playing solo, as it seems to be more geared towards cooperative play, whether that is via the local co-op or the online multiplayer, as enemies can easily overwhelm you and the bosses are overtly powerful in solo mode even when you're in high enough level than what is required by the quest. Ultimately, I learned that it comes down to using equipment that have additional effects rather than your character's level, which for soloists playing the game early on is such a bother. Having all 4 characters in your roster does little as well, as you can only control one at a given time and will be unable to switch to anyone else except by using the inn. It is, in my opinion, a missed opportunity to add a character switching function outside of the inn, as it would have added a ton of versatility during solo gameplay at the very least, especially since you will be unable to explore the entirety of the map using a single character alone. Obstacles dot the gameplay area that only specific characters will be able to go through. Character levels are separate as well. The same goes for their quest progression. Though the story isn't as fleshed out as one would have liked, there is a story element to the game that can be progressed through quests. Using the bar, players can pick up quests, some having special side quests in them that can determine how the game may end and how the denizens of the kingdom view our outcast character. Completing these side missions can lift your character's status up from living in the slums to living at large in the upper quarters and beyond. Like the Monster Hunter games, selecting a quest gives you a timer on how long you have to complete it using whatever character class you selected the quest with. While in the quest area, you won't be able to change equipment or add new items to use. Those needed to be set up prior to quest selection and only in the inn as well. Whatever items you obtained while doing the quest, whether they are drops or looted from chests, will only be ever yours if and only if you finished the quest. Having said that, the quests really don't have that much variation as opposed to what this game is marketing itself to have. Battles are interesting and challenging. Enemies have an aggro indicator, and like Monster Hunter will attack you if their aggro is high. You can also see the enemy statistics when you attack an enemy and have them on your sights. Level means nothing when it comes to some enemies as well, as even lower level foes can still pack a wallop against you. You take damage from enemy attacks as well as environmental damage. You also take damage from running into enemies. Annoyingly enough, you can only attack in two directions, left and right. There is no upward nor downward attack, and all you can do is jump around your enemy if possible to compensate with that while swinging your weapon at the direction where the enemy is, provided they're not above or beneath you. Apart from the warrior, you also do not have an option to defend against attacks, which adds more to the challenge. Your character doesn't learn new techniques or new abilities as they grow stronger either. More than the items, you are rewarded experience points as well, which is dependent on how many enemies you devour and destroy, as well as the base experience reward of the quests you have selected. Getting enough experience points will level up your characters and give you attribute points you can use to further enhance your chosen character. Besides the inn and the bar, there are other in-game amenities as well. There is a weapon shop where you can buy new fighting gear to help you with your questing, and a general store where you can purchase healing items and accessories that act as armor for your characters. There is also the Slums Gate, where you can meet the dragon you made a pact with and ask him to realign your attribute points at a price. All of these are available right at the beginning of the game. Now, the main attraction of the game, and something the game does really well, is the cooperative play. For local multiplayer, each player will need to have their own Switch consoles and copies of the game, while online multiplayer gives you the option to play with friends and random strangers from far away. Unlike most cooperative and multiplayer games of the same vein as Dragon Marked for Death, whatever chest or items one player obtains is also obtained by the entire party, regardless of who picked the item up or who opened the chest. There is also a basic chat function in the form of predefined phrases you can select by pressing one of the bumper keys. What these phrases are can be equipped in the inn as well. From my experience playing online with strangers using the worldwide setting, I am pleased to never experience a single lag, which is saying something considering how online play seems to be with the Nintendo Switch Online and its AAA titles. Matchmaking is quick as well, and parties won't take long to fill. Graphics-wise, this game is nothing to write home about. It looks similar to most games during the Game Boy Advance era with its 2D pixelated look. It also vaguely reminds me of another video game that features dragons. You know, Breath of Fire, especially with how the characters are drawn. The enemy designs are well thought out, however, and they do look interesting. The game's soundtrack is average as well. It feels more like a background noise to the game as you are playing it that sometimes I seldom notice there is one playing. And although there is an option to select which voice you would like your character to have, there is no real voice acting in the game. Your characters do not speak and only give grunts and sounds of exertion. Cutscenes also suffer the same lack of voice acting, with the only actual speaking line ever uttered found at the very start of the game. At the start menu to be exact.
Marked for death.
The control scheme lies somewhere in between easy to learn and difficult to master, and can prove to be an added challenge to those with poor hand-eye coordination. Each character, as previously stated, controls differently, and that includes the button combos and presses you need to input in order to activate whatever ability or feature that character has in their arsenal. Using items is annoying as well, since there is no other way to do so, not even a shortcut, to open your satchel and make use of a healing item. You would have to open up the menu and do so from there. Though the game pauses when you do so while playing solo mode, the same could not be said while playing with friends. The battle still rages on even as you hurriedly try to use that herb to heal yourself, and often you would find yourself incapacitated before you manage to do so. I have even encountered a bug during a boss fight where I managed to use a healing item at the same time that the boss attacked me, and even though my health was restored, the game still counted my character incapacitated and depleted the revival gauge because of it. Truth be told, that got me to almost throw my controller in sheer frustration. Overall, this game borders on mediocre, even when it boasts of multiple endings, and is only fun when played with friends or strangers online. The fact that you aren't free to fully explore a quest map and are limited in where you can go and what you can do by the characters you control also makes this game a wee bit repetitive. even with the various different quests and requirements for them that this game has, because ultimately, it does that Monster Hunter route of ending a quest with a monster's boss battle. A fetch or retrieval quest for an item, boss battle at the end. A rescue quest, boss battle at the end. The only unique quest I've encountered thus far is the water purifying quest, and even that ends up with a boss battle. Had the game had more to it and had the ability to switch characters on the go, even if just for the solo play, it would have been better. The fact that you would be kept out of some paths in the quest areas because you do not have the character necessary to go past the obstacles that hinder the way and would be required to pay an additional fee to be able to get them also keeps this game from becoming a favorite of mine, since I love exploration and am a completionist at heart. The game isn't bad per se, but there are things that could have been done to make it better. Some things seem to just be done for the sake of making the game difficult and infuriating to work with than challenging. Even more so when you're playing solo. But if you enjoy difficult and challenging games, you might find joy in this one. Truth be told, I wanted to like this game like I did Hollow Knight. I feel bad whenever I end up giving a game a negative review, knowing that people worked hard and worked tirelessly for it. Even more so for Dragon Marked for Death, which is a game that, from seeing the trailers, piqued my interest. Unfortunately, I have to be honest with my reviews and with how it is handled, not just with the gameplay but with the separation of the characters into DLCs. I find I can only give this game a 25% VM Studios recommendations or seal of approval. And I'm only giving it because of how fun the multiplayer aspect of the game is. With a score of 6 out of 10 in my books, Dragon's Mark for Death isn't a game for players looking for a side-scroller, action, adventure, platformer hoping to do a little bit of exploration. Nor is it a game for beginners to quickly sink their teeth into and enjoy playing it. It would not even hold much interest for veterans of this kind of game or genre as well, if I'm gonna be honest, not in the way that Monster Hunter games seem to be able to. It's a good game to pass time, and unless you have friends you can play with or a decent internet connection to play with strangers online, I wouldn't hurriedly and enthusiastically purchase this game. If you're able to grit your teeth regardless of the complaints I have listed in this review, then you might find yourselves alternating between enjoying the game and being vexed by it. And there you guys have it, my review for Dragon Marked for Death. So, what did you guys think? Were you amongst the first purchasers of the game or day one purchasers of the game? Have you played the game? Are you planning to play the game? If you have played the game, did you enjoy it? Which version did you buy? The Frontline one or the Advanced Attacker one? And which character did you choose to play first? Which character class is your favorite? Tell me all that and maybe even more, especially your thoughts on this game if you've played it, on the comments section below. And I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, you guys know the drill. Dream on, fly on. Bye bye now, everybody.